Hello everyone, my name is Cameron and welcome back to your regularly scheduled nonsense, where as we draw closer to the end of yet another year, that means it is time for another set of top 10s. Now last year, if you remember, I got the idea from my buddy Alex to do a top 10 worst and best platinums of the year video, and I'm doing that once again this year, as I have gotten, actually technically speaking, as of today, Christmas Day, I've gotten one more platinum than I got last year, meaning my grand total for the year is at 59. I was hoping to get a little bit higher than that, as I was kind of hoping to do a specific challenge in 2025. Unfortunately, because of the fact that I do have some personal things that I'm planning and hoping for in 2025, I feel like that challenge is going to have to be put on the back burner for another time. I will get to the challenge that I'm planning to do in a later video that will be coming out sometime after these two videos do, and discussing what that's going to be, because that will be starting on January 1st, 2025. So we're going to be starting with the 10 worst, and I want to specify, much like last year, the numerical rankings I give these games, like the 10 to 1, the 10 being the game that I recommend the most, that I enjoyed the most out of the worst platinum side, and then number 1 on this one being the one I least enjoyed and could not recommend, and then on the best list, the number 10 will be the one I enjoyed the least out of the 10, and the number 1 will be the one I enjoyed the most. I also want to specify at the end of each of these, I will give a number ranking type thing, like saying like 3 out of 10, 5 out of 10, whatever. 3 out of 10, 5 out of 10, whatever number I end up choosing for each of these games. That really is just me saying, do I recommend playing this game? Not really the platinum, as this video, the lists themselves are based around how much I enjoyed getting the platinum for these games, not necessarily how much I enjoyed playing the games. Now, obviously, the platinum does factor into what I recommend and what I don't recommend, but for the actual ranking of the list from the 10 to 1, that's really just more, this is how much I enjoyed getting the platinum, this is how the platinum affected my views on the game, and this is less about the game and more about the platinum experience rather than anything else. Now, I will say, in some of these games, I did get the 100%. Some of these games, I did not get a 100% across both lists. Mostly this list is 100%. So let's get started right now. This list, actually, compared to last year, was a lot harder to make. I platinumed a lot more games that I really enjoyed this year. A lot of the games, I wouldn't say were necessarily easy platinums. I just kind of chose games that had better trophy lists. I chose games that I really wanted to play. I chose games off of recommendations. I played a lot of indie games this year as well, and I think that kind of really impacted it. Didn't play as many as I was hoping to play, but did still end up playing a decent chunk of indie games that are on PlayStation. So, without further ado, there is no dishonorable or honorable mentions for this one. Again, like I said, I played a lot of really good games and platted a lot of really good games this year, so I couldn't really find platinums this year that I think really could have been on this list but didn't end up making the 10. Genuinely, getting 10 was kind of difficult because a lot of the games I played I really did enjoy. But starting with number 10, we have Bridge Constructor Portal. I really genuinely did not think the platinum on this game would end up being so fucking hard. Like, as difficult as it ended up being, I was not expecting it. Game itself was absolutely amazing. I really, really dig Portal. It's one of my favorite game franchises of all time. I love it to death. It's fantastic. I really would love a Portal 3. Just saying. In case Gabe Newell or anyone else at Valve is listening. Come on, Portal 3, please. I did really enjoy it up until about the halfway point in this game, though. At the halfway point, it was when I really had to focus on a guide. I was trying to get through as much of this game without a guide as possible, and made it a decent chunk through, and halfway through, give or take, I got stuck in a situation where the guide was kind of necessary, because the levels just became so frustrating. They became so difficult to figure out just by looking at them. And so it was one of those things of, I'm just going to use a guide, and I'm going to use that to figure out exactly how to get these done. And in the easiest possible way compared to what I was trying at the time. I did try each level a few times before going to the guide just to see if maybe I could figure it out, or a lot of the time I'd get onto the right page, like onto the right steps, the right path to getting to the finish line, and then just would fuck up at like the last possible moment and be like, okay, I can't figure out the solution. What do I need to do? This game doesn't really focus on a monetary thing as much as other bridge constructor type games are. Its main focus is getting the cars through the exit, and that's about it. Hi, Aphrodite. Hi. There we go. But yeah, this only gets the 10 spot solely because it really wasn't that hard of a platinum overall. Genuinely beating the levels was the hardest part, and getting the counter voice through was the hardest part. Every other part of this platinum was piss easy, really simple stuff to go through, and I really, really did love it. And if you're really good at puzzle games and you love Portal, like I do, because I do genuinely love Portal, I'd say go for it. And honestly, 4 out of 10 if you're not big on puzzle games, and if you're not big on Portal, I'd say maybe a 4 out of 10. But if you do really love it, I would say go for it. The platinum's not that hard, and you'll probably enjoy the platinum to some degree before you get to really hard levels and start to not enjoy it as much. On to number 9. This is actually where this list was written up to as of earlier today, where I just did not want to keep writing it because my pen was dying on me and it was really starting to just cramp my hands. On to number 9, we've Call of Duty Black Ops 3. so genuine honesty, had this list been about the game and my feelings on the game, this would not be on this list. I love Call of Duty Black Ops 3 as a game. It is one of my favorite Call of Duties of all time. It has so many good gameplay elements. I mean, the story is absolute shit, but we'll get onto that in a minute. The gameplay elements are really good. The zombies was the best it had ever been up to that point. Obviously, now Cold War, Black Ops 6, even Black Ops 4 to a degree have kind of beaten out what Black Ops 3 had done. But Black Ops 3, for an all-around package, was fantastic. All of its zombies maps were great. The multiplayer was extremely well built for it being fairly new to the style of everything that was being done. And it was one of the first games I'd ever pre-ordered on PS4 where I got the best edition of the game. Like this was like $90-something or $100-something that I'd spent on this game specifically to get all the DLC and stuff like that. So it was really worth it. And then eventually I bought Zombies Chronicles and I went through and I did all of the Zombies Chronicles DLC stuff. So this is a 100%, by the way. Just want to specify. I'll put in my page. Don't shut my notebook. But where it does falter is the platinum. The platinum for this game is absolutely god awful. And if you've platinumed this game, you know damn well that I'm not wrong. This game genuinely, it feels like they really didn't know what they were doing for the platinum trophy list. Now most of it's not too hard, and we'll get to that in a minute, but there is one really fucking hard spot, and even though this is at the number 9 spot, this is the reason it hit this list. This is the reason it goes on this list. It requires you playing through every single level multiple times. Now what I'm saying is, obviously COD normally, if you're not very good at it, you play through it maybe 2 times. You play through it once on like recruit or normal, or in some cases like me, because I'm crazy, hardened, and then you'll play through it on veteran to get that last trophy for the campaign. Normal stuff. Normally how everyone goes about it. You play through about 2 playthroughs, do it on an easier difficulty, get familiar with the game, get familiar with the levels and the combat and everything like that, and where enemies spawn, and then you play through it again on veteran to get that last trophy. Or just get through the last playthrough on the hardest difficulty in the game because you want to do it for fun. Now, I do know my friends and me can probably all play through veteran on our first playthroughs if we really want to. I still will normally go through on normal or hardened when going through my first playthrough, just to kind of get familiar with how the gameplay is, because a lot of the time campaign's the first thing I jump into, so I don't always have like the knowledge of what I need to be doing and how the game's going to play while I'm playing it. But this one requires you playing through each level like 70 times. That's a bit of an over exaggeration. But it does really require you to play through the levels a lot of times, as you have to beat the game. First off, you have to beat the game. You have to beat the game on realistic difficulty, which obviously if you do realistic difficulty, it'll give you any difficulty trophies below realistic that you may not already have. Veteran, Hardened, Recruit, Normal, whatever that there may be. Below that, you'll get that. However, the biggest issue with this is realistic is a pain in the ass, especially in this game. Realistic was introduced in this game, and it was not very well balanced, and unfortunately, that really shows. If you guys remember, I did do a playthrough of this game for a bit on stream, where I was going through realistic difficulty as I was working towards the platinum, and eventually, I was trying to clean my phone screen off. Eventually, I decided that I was just going to do this in my own time, off stream, because I couldn't focus on the game well enough during streams to really enjoy the experience of trying to get this trophy. Eventually I did get realistic done, but it was a pain in the ass. And then on top of that, you then have to go in and do all the accolades, get all the challenges on each mission done, get all the collectibles, and play through the entire game on veteran difficulty on every mission without resetting to a single checkpoint or dying once. Without resetting to a checkpoint, which basically means you can't die through any mission on the second hardest difficulty in the game, which would normally be the hardest difficulty in the game, in any other COD, basically. In any game without realistic difficulty, at least, veteran is the hardest difficulty. And that amounts to just so much repetitive gameplay, and that's really, really where this platinum gets put on this list. It's why it gets put on this list, is because of the fact that you have to play the campaign so many fucking times for, like, what amounts to 5 trophies, I think is what it is. Not counting, obviously, the initial playthrough trophies. Basically, the first campaign playthrough, not counting those. I'm counting everything that comes after your initial playthrough. So that means all your personal decorator trophies, your personal decorator trophy, which is getting like all the accolades and all the challenges done. There is the realistic difficulty playthrough. There is all the collectibles, which technically I guess also goes into, I think there's one for just doing all the campaign challenges. That's another trophy in and of itself. So there's like 4 or so trophies that are just tied to campaign, which are not just for playing through the campaign. And that's really why this one makes this list, is because I just got so burnt out doing it. And again, it's one of those things of, it wouldn't have been so bad if you didn't have to do so much over and over and over again and replay through the game so many times for a small amount of trophies. Alex helped me with the veteran playthrough, which is just genuinely one of the nicest things he's ever done. He helped me make sure I could get through that, because genuinely, if you're playing through a 2-player, if you die on veteran, you just go back to where your teammate's at, you respawn to them rather than going back to a checkpoint, as long as only one of you has died. So he basically was just my anchor, so that way I could just go through, get through a section, move on to the next one, get to the next checkpoint, and just rinse and repeat until I finished every mission on veteran. And again, veteran also felt a lot harder in Black Ops 3 for some reason than it had been in previous games, and even games now. The only game I can really say that was harder to beat on veteran for me was probably the MW1 remaster or the MW2 remaster. One of those two were really tough. And then obviously World at War's veteran campaign is known for being extremely tough. But I have not personally gone through that one myself. But yeah, this just genuinely got so repetitive so fast. If those trophies that required you to do so much for the campaign weren't in here, this wouldn't be on this list. And as someone who just literally finished the Black Ops 6 Platinum, like, genuinely, yeah, if it wasn't for the repetitiveness, I would definitely not have put this on this list. I love the game. 5 out of 10 recommend. If you don't mind repetitive bullshit, genuinely, if you're going to play this game, just play the game. Don't go for the platinum, in my opinion, at least. Enjoy it. Play through the zombies. Play through the multiplayer. Play through the campaign once, even though the story is absolutely dog shit and makes no fucking sense. I've played through it a number of times now. But yeah, if it wasn't for how repetitive the campaign Karts got, I think this game would have been so much better. And if the campaign was better itself, it's just not a good story. And I'm saying this as somebody who has platinumed a number of Call of Duty games. Advanced Warfare, World War II, Black Ops 6, Black Ops 3, Modern Warfare 1 and 2 remastered, and the Modern Warfare 2019 reboot. I've platinumed a lot of Call of Duty and plan to do more, but Black Ops 3's platinum is so far the worst one I've done, and that's really upsetting because I really love this game. But moving on to number 8, we have Dirt 5. Look, I love racing games. That's no secret. I've been very vocal about that, and this is now the second year in a row where a racing game has made this fucking list. God, I really choose bad platinums when it comes to racing games sometimes. And Dirt was a series I had never really touched, but I had Dirt 5 as well as, I think, Dirt Rally 2.0, I think is the other one I have, both through PS Plus. And I wanted to do one of them, and I decided on Dirt 5, even though I'd played it a little bit. Put this up so I can kind of lean back a little bit more. My back's kind of killing me. So give me a little bit more support, hopefully. I had played Dirt 5 a little bit and knew I didn't really enjoy it too much the first time I'd really given it a crack, but I decided to go for it again, and I really wish I wouldn't have, because not only did I not really enjoy this game, not only did I not enjoy the gameplay loop or the controls, genuinely, I didn't really enjoy a lot about this game, to be honest. But the platinum was a fucking nightmare. I really did want to enjoy it. I genuinely did. But playing through it originally, the original reason I stopped playing it was because I just didn't enjoy the controls. And for me, controls in a racing game are the most important thing. You can have terrible graphics in your racing game. You could have a terrible fucking story. I wouldn't really care. But your controls really matter to me at the end of the day. And this game's controls just felt stiff the whole time I played it. Originally, when I tweaked the controls a little bit more, it felt a little bit better, but it still sucked compared to what I'm used to. And maybe that's because this is more of a simulation racing game, and I'm more used to like the arcade style, like Need for Speed. But for me, this game just did not check the boxes. And then we get to the actual platinum. I really wanted to enjoy this too, except for there was a ton of crashes. And when I say a ton, I mean like this probably crashed on me more than every game on this list, except for the one at number 1, which we'll get to when we get to it. And the worst part is, every time I closed this game, every time it closed out by itself because of a crash, anything like that, there was the possibility that my save data would corrupt and I'd have to restart the entire game, which is the big reason this platinum hits this list, is that glitch should not exist at all. Should not be in here whatsoever. And that's the big reason, like I said, this earns this spot on the list. Cloud saves did eventually fix this issue, and I did eventually continue the game and finish it and get the 100% because I'm a psychopath. But it genuinely, for me, the glitch happening so often and so frequently and having so many crashes that caused it really just kind of turned me off of this game and really made me wish that this game would have never touched my consoles again, because I just couldn't. I really couldn't. I really can't say it was worth it, to be honest. 2 out of 10. I don't recommend going for this one at all. I don't even play it. Just steer clear, because the glitch, as far as I know, still exists. And if you're not smart enough to do cloud saves, if you're not being extremely careful about making cloud saves every time you close the game, you're going to lose all your progress and you're going to have to restart, and it's going to drain you mentally just as much as it did for me. Next, on to number 7, we have Mortal Kombat 1. Look, even the game itself, in my eyes, wasn't very good, and the platinum really just was going to be stuck with that same situation. If I didn't enjoy the game, I wasn't really going to enjoy the platinum. And I really wanted to give this game a try and give it the benefit of the doubt but I couldn't. And I really just wish that WB would figure out what to do with this game, with this franchise at this point, because it just feels like they're just throwing darts at a fucking wall and trying to figure something out and telling NetherRealm to do this and do that, and it's just becoming worse. So first things first, the Platinum wasn't even available on launch, which if you played this game on launch, you knew that. The Invasion's story, or side mode, whatever, you couldn't do the boss fight in Invasions from the get-go. It took a few days or a week or something like that, or a month, I can't remember how long exactly, for the actual Invasions boss fight thing to be in the game. Which, look, I get it. You're probably trying to give people time to enjoy the game, to level up in Invasions and get ready for that boss fight and gear up for it. But not telling people when they'd be in and not having it in there from launch really just shows how little you care about your community and care about being forthcoming and upfront with things with your community. And that really pissed me off, because there were people I knew that were doing a race on this game. Mayor Hairbear was doing a platinum race with another streamer / YouTuber who does trophy hunting, and this stopped both of them dead in their tracks from getting it within like a week of the game coming out. They busted their asses to try to get every other trophy, just for this one to be sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. And it really just hammered home the absolute shit show that has been Mortal Kombat as of late, under WB and NetherRealm Studios. And I love NetherRealm Studios. I really do. I think they're a fantastic studio. I think Ed Boon is a great developer. I think they do great work. But unfortunately, they're at this point where WB is hammering home exactly what they want them to be doing in the games, and it's just ruining the games and making them worse, which we'll get to. Then on top of that, locking people out of the Platinum, there was the absolute garbage trophy for leveling up 5 cameo fighters to the max level of 15, which in the first season, if you did it in the first season, if you literally spent all your time just grinding levels for them, yeah, it wouldn't have been too hard, because there was an easy XP exploit type thing you could do. You XP really fast. Season 2 came along and they destroyed that one. They got rid of that one. Then there was a second one that you could do. Then in Season 3, that one got patched and they had a different one. And then in Season 4, who the fuck knows, because Season 3's exploit got fixed. So basically what I ended up doing, and this is the reason it took me so long to get this Platinum, is I just stopped playing for a long time. And then I don't know, like Season 6, Season 7, Season 8 is when I was kind of starting to play it and get back into it and finish it up. It took me a year to get this Platinum for a good reason. I just stopped enjoying it. And unfortunately, you look at what WB and NetherRealm are doing now with the Chaos Reigns DLC, where there's a whole fucking DLC that is, I'm not even shitting you, $50 fucking dollars. 50 USD for that fucking expansion pass that adds like 6 characters, maybe. I don't know how many it actually adds. And a little bit more story for you to play through. For $50 fucking dollars. On top of the fact that people who bought the premium edition or the collector's edition, because I think they had a collector's edition for this game, can't remember for sure. I bought the premium, mind you. Spent $100 plus already on this fucking game for a better edition of the game, now have to spend $50 more to buy a DLC that, technically speaking, should have just been included in the premium edition. They did the same bullshit in MK11, because I actually bought that one because it was cheaper. It was like 20 or 30 bucks, or it went on sale or something like that, and I bought it. And the thing is, I would have bought Chaos Reigns, because it genuinely has characters I enjoy. It has a lot of cool characters, including Ghostface, who I really love. However, I'm not giving them more of my fucking money on a game I spent over $100 on already to get. I'm sorry. That is bullshit. On top of all the other microtransaction bullshit they've put into this game. So that all just kind of soured me to this game as a whole, and the Platinum as a whole. And, you know, the game could definitely be decent if WB would pull their heads out of their asses and focus on giving fans what they want, instead of, how can we get more money from you? How can we fuck you over and scam you out of more of your money for a game that really isn't worth it at this point? And that is unfortunately how I feel about Mortal Kombat 1 at this point. It's probably how I'm going to continue to feel about it, because I really did not enjoy this game, and I really did not enjoy this platinum. The rest of the platinum, not counting that one trophy for Cameo Mastery and like the fact that the platinum wasn't available, but that will always put a sour note on it if the platinum is not available from day one. If there is something that's causing the platinum to not unlock, whether it be a glitch or something not being in the game properly on launch, sorry, your platinum is being docked points in my book. Yeah, 2 out of 10. I really can't recommend it, honestly. I didn't enjoy it at all, or the focus on in-game purchases being kind of more prevalent than the game actually running properly and being enjoyable. Moving on to number 6, MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore. I swear I like racing games, okay? I swear. It just so happens that some of the racing platinums I got this year fucking sucked to do. And this was one of them. And this game was really good. I'm not going to lie. I do really enjoy this game. I really enjoy the MX vs. ATV series as a whole. My dad got me into these when I was really young, and I still love them to this day. I actually just picked up MX vs. ATV Legends as it was on sale, and Alex bought me a $25 PlayStation gift card because he's a really nice friend. And so I bought that, as well as Balatro, which I've been really enjoying. And I really wanted to get through this game because I saw a boosting session for it on PSN Profiles, and that was what made me kind of decide to do it. This is now the second MX vs. ATV game I've done. I did All Out sometime last year, I think. And that one was more because it was about to leave PS Plus. And I said, you know what? Why not? Let me go through and get this platinum done. And I really enjoyed doing that one, so I thought I'd enjoy this one just as much. But this one was such a fucking pain, as the controls for the game really did not age well. And let me explain what I mean by that. This game is technically a port or a remaster of a game of the same name, MX vs. ATV Supercross, from the PS3, which means that all the controls were more based on the PS3 controller and the control scheme that game used, or in that system used, more so than what the PS4 used. And the controls did not carry over very well, on top of the game just not looking the best. It really kind of started to add to it, and I've played a lot of these games in my time, and this is probably the one that I remember having the worst controls. Now, granted, a lot of those games I played were way back in the day, where I didn't really focus on how controls worked as much as I do now, and it's less noticeable for me now that I have, back then than it is now, where I have a lot more focus on these things because I'm playing so many video games, and I've been playing so many video games for the better part of my life. And the biggest thing is bad controls really, really decimate a video game. If you have really bad controls, especially when going for a platinum, it really just kind of turns you off of it and really makes the entire experience terrible, especially when you could be playing a game for 60 or more hours to get a platinum. If you have bad controls, that's really going to stick a lot harder in your mind than anything else. And the number one thing I remember from this the most is the controls just being absolutely dog shit and really just not being fun for me to play. 2 out of 10. I really can't recommend this due to the fact that there's online required trophies, which require you to have like 20 something people or some shit like that. I can't remember the exact amount, but you have to win a race with like a full lobby, which is like 16 or more people, something like that. And then obviously the bad controls also make this not recommended by me, just because there's better MX vs. ATV games out there. Hell, you could literally get one of the ones from like the PS2. I have Off-Road Fury in my room for the PS2. I bet you that has better controls than Supercross Encore has, at least on the PS4. Maybe the PS3 version of it is better. I don't really know. Next, number 5, we have Portal Knights. Alright, here it is. The only non-100% on this list. Yeah, you heard that right. I do have the 100. Like I said, I have the 100% on both Dirt 5 and Black Ops 3 because I'm a fucking crazy person. Probably why I also dislike Dirt 5 so much, because of all the crashes and stuff, is I was doing the 100%, not just the platinum. But moving on. This game, no way in hell was I going to play through it again. It does not control well. The story is terrible, from what I remember of it at least. And again, the thing is, I've done playthroughs for 100%. I've done multiple playthroughs for 100% before. However, this game requires you to level up a second class that was not in game at launch and you'd have to buy the DLC for to level 30. Now, had I known this before starting the platinum on this, like going back to get the platinum, had I known that, I would have bought the DLC, started the entire story over, and gotten the rogue to level 30 and gotten the trophy for hitting level 30 with a character as well as hitting level 30 on the rogue. However, I did not know that that was a trophy when I went into it. Did not know about the DLC in the first place. Was just kind of playing through the game, started back up, and then was like checking the trophy list and saw that and I was like, oh, fuck. Because I was already grinding from like level 16 or something like that, I think. I don't remember exactly where. On the playthrough I'd already done, and had already beaten the entire game on. So there was no way in hell I was doing that entire grind a second fucking time when I really didn't even want to do it the first time. Was getting mentally drained doing it the first time. I was like, if I do this again, I'm gonna lose my mind. And yeah, like, I absolutely loved the game originally. Like, back when I played it, God knows how long ago at this point. But after the platinum, I may never touch this game again. 0 out of 10. Don't ever play this. Don't ever platinum this. And here's the biggest reason too. There's also a what's the word I'm looking for? There's also a time-limited, time-sensitive trophy, which yes, you can reset your clock back to, but like I think you have to reset it back really far because I don't think it's updated anymore to where it works properly. So you have to update it to do an Easter event from like 2017 or some shit like that to actually be doing this. It's such a pain in the ass and I fucking hated it. So yeah, don't go for this. Next, on to number 4, we have Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I don't really have a lot to say about this one that I didn't say in a previous video of the Platinum Journey where I talked about this game. I don't have a lot to say about it in general. I just genuinely didn't really enjoy this game all that much, especially the Platinum and 100%. A big problem with that is I played a lot of RPG this year, and this one just took so much out of me. It took so long to do. And I love the Assassin's Creed series as a whole. I do. It's one of my favorite game series. I will not shy away from that fact. As much as Ubisoft has sucked the life out of it and made it very unfun to play, I will absolutely always still say that Assassin's Creed has given me some of my best gaming memories in my entire life. This one, however, probably gave me some of the worst. And it made me need a break from Assassin's Creed for a bit. I haven't touched an Assassin's Creed game since I finished this one, which is saying a lot because I have the entire Ezio trilogy still to play through on my PlayStation. So that's saying something. Like, I genuinely have one of the best trilogies of games. Haven't fucking touched them because Assassin's Creed Odyssey burned me the fuck out. 3 out of 10. Play it or don't, but don't platinum it. Don't 100% it. Just enjoy the game for what it is. A RPG Assassin's Creed game, which, yes, I know, means you can only enjoy it so fucking much. Next, on to number 3, we have Fallout Shelter. I know, easy little phone game that got ported to consoles, and it's free. How the fuck could this be that hard? How could this be on this list? 3 letters. RNG. This game is fucking bogged down and plagued by RNG trophies, especially the ones that I was like the last one I was stuck on. And it really fucking shows when you start going for this platinum how bad these RNG trophies get as you play through it. And the one I got stuck on was surviving 30 raider attacks or something like that, I think is what it was. And the problem is, if you go past a certain threshold of how many vault dwellers you have, the game says you're not getting raiders anymore. Now you're getting death claws, and that's all you get. It's such a pain in the ass too, because I was so set on my vault at this point. Like, my vault was really well done. I had 130 something vault dwellers, I think. And I was really built up. A lot of microtransactions had been spent. Yes, I spent a lot of money on this fucking game. Probably like 20 something dollars at least, maybe more, to get better people, better weapons, companions, the works, Nuka-Cola, whatever, to make sure I could get this, to make sure I could have a really set up shelter and have it be really cool. and I had to kill like 100 of my fucking dwellers so I could get this fucking trophy. And I was so pissed. And I hear what you're saying. Why didn't you just start another vault? I did. The unfortunate problem is because I was using microtransactions, I was using dwellers and companions and Nuka-Cola Quantum that I had bought in that original vault. I got set up a lot faster and was much better set up than I would be on any vault I could start from the beginning again. It would take me a lot longer to start a new vault to get up to raider attacks and survive all those raider attacks than it would to literally just cull 90% of my fucking vault and have a smaller number of dwellers and have them come in and have raiders attack and die. It was such a pain in the ass. I put so much work into that vault just to lose it. I really should have done a cloud save and then re-downloaded that cloud save once I AFK'd and had gotten the vault attacks. So that way at least I had my vault back to normal. I didn't think about that until after the fact, obviously. But yeah. It's also grindy as hell and just gets tiring after a while. The 2 trophies I had remaining was also to do a bunch of objective missions or something like that, or like the daily objectives or something, and those missions just take so fucking long to do. You have to sign in so much, you have to play so much, and this game is really one of those nice games where you don't really have to be on it every day, but unfortunately for some of the trophies you have to be hopping on every day, doing a bunch of work, doing a bunch of missions and things like that. And yeah, it just got tiring after a while. Fun for a little bit, not for the platinum. 2 out of 10. I mean, play it for a little bit of an experience, but don't really try to focus on the platinum because it's not very fun. Number 2, we have Evil West. I debated a lot on if this game should even be on this list. Again, I couldn't find a whole lot of platinums that I really didn't enjoy and felt like needed to be on this list. So obviously, a lot of games were maybe just, I didn't really enjoy you, but you're going on this list because, or I didn't really hate you, but you're going on this list because I can't find another game to put on this list, basically. However, I then remembered the hardest difficulty playthrough on this game, and it just genuinely fucking took me to such a deep pit of rage, remembering that I crashed on one of the last missions as I was killing the boss and had to restart the whole fucking mission over again from the beginning when I was literally at the last fucking checkpoint because of the game crashing. On top of this game just being really janky in general, it really, really set me off. And unfortunately, and I'm still sorry for this, buddy, I had to pull Alex back into this game because him and I had played it when it came on PS Plus. We played it for a little bit, realized how long the game was because it was like maybe 9, 10, 11 p.m., something like that when we started it. And it was probably like 1 or 2 a.m. when we stopped playing it originally. And we're like, okay, let's take a break from this. Months go by. Neither of us ever wants to play it again, basically. And then I was like, fuck it. I'm going to go for the platinum on this because it's kind of a small indie game. So I thought, why not, throw it on the list, just have it done. God, I was stupid. So I went back into it, and it genuinely did suck because the setting and the aesthetic for this game are fantastic. I love Old West games. A little bit less on Red Dead Redemption. I love the old Western style of games. I love steampunk stuff like this and like the Nikola Tesla ideas and stuff like that being roped into this old world country stuff with vampires and werewolves and all this fucking cool undead shit. But the game it's wrapped up in is just awful and had so much potential just lost because of jankiness and crashes and bugs and genuinely just not being as polished as it probably should have been when it launched. And I understand why this was I think this was like a day one release on PS Plus. I think like the day it released, it was launched on PS Plus as well for free, which is like absolutely insane because PS Plus doesn't really fucking do that. Sony does not really do a lot of day one releases on PS Plus. So it was very strange. Yeah, 0 out of 10. I can't recommend this one at all. Even to play it. Even though it had a really cool premise, I don't recommend this game at all. Just steer clear. There's better games that have the same sort of style and aesthetic and setting. Just choose one of those. Next, and finally, number 1, my least enjoyed platinum of 2024, Real Farm. This one's also going to be kind of short, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey was, because I really have no nice things to say about this game. It is a god-awful clusterfuck buggy mess of a game, and that is putting it fucking nicely. I think it probably could have been better. I do. But genuinely, if you want to play a farming sim, stick away from this one. I cannot recommend this. 0 out of 10. Just play Farming Simulator, honestly. My biggest gripe with this is that if you play on the American map, which realize the fact that you have 2 map options is cool already, but if you play on the American map instead of the European map, anytime you go to do any field that has any sort of crop on it in a farming game, your game crashes because it drops FPS insanely. That only happens on the American farm. European farm, completely fine. There is an easy money exploit, which I did use to get to the money done, but the grind for 100 jobs and the fact that you cannot play on one of the in-game farms, there's only 2 options. You play on the American or the fucking European map. It's not like Farming Simulator where there's like 7 fucking options. You have 2. And one of them is completely locked because if you do any sort of harvesting or anything like that, the game will crash and you will lose progress and have to go back and start doing jobs again. So literally, I got to a point where all I was doing on the European farm was doing farm jobs, trying to finish them for other people, and then once I hit 100, never touching this game again. So, genuinely, 0 out of 10, don't fucking touch it. Don't play it. Just play Farming Simulator. It's much better. Much more fucking stable than this game. This game was just bad. But that is going to do it for my least favorite platinums of 2024. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Stay tuned for the 10 best platinums of 2024, at least in my humble opinion for what I actually did. And obviously for the video talking about what my platinum challenge for 2025 is going to end up being, which took me a lot of time to figure out what I want that to be. Stay golden. Peace.